Mike Paralak here to entertain you with the help of Robbie Nevil. I want to be just the same. I want to know all your moves and play all your games. I want to be just like you. I wouldn't change a thing. Life could be so cruel. I want to be just like you. That was one of a couple of hits he put out. Another one, I think it was a while before that one. But C'est la vie. C'est la vie, c'est la vie. That's just the way it goes. That's right. Punching in, punching out. Is that really what life's all about? What you gonna do? What you gonna be? I don't know. You know the song. A couple other ones I remember. Back on Holiday. I like that one. I actually like the unreleased track from that album that was on the cassette single, Too Soon. Too late to change what's true. That someday always comes too soon. Anyways, Robbie Nevil. That particular song, Just Like You, first time I heard it as a child, I remember thinking, yeah, Michael J. Fox. After all, his life is perfect. Which, you know, is kind of a big fat contradiction I would learn many years later. Is Michael J. Fox actually struggled himself with alcoholism even before he was diagnosed with Parkinson's. We all have our cross to bear, as they say. But first time I saw that video, I was actually living with an aunt after a year of living in foster care. But as a child, you know, I want to be just like you. As a child, thinking that, oh yeah, that's my son. That's Michael J. Fox. I want to be him. But words of wisdom from an aunt of mine. Nobody's life is perfect. But that particular track, I Want to Be Just Like You, Robbie Nevil, first time I saw the video, I was living with an aunt after years of living in foster care. An aunt that I think she had a little bit of an understanding, or certainly at least tried to understand the reality of myself and my two sisters in our 6 years of living in an emotional and psychological prison. But her solution was a little bit juvenile and probably in part desperation for her, because, I mean, she had to work too. But she would say, I distinctly remember when we lived with her saying, that's why I let you guys watch so much TV. You got to catch up with the world now. Which, her heart was in the right place, but I don't know. It's hard to say whether or not that line of thinking was actually helpful or not. I guess it's in the eye of the beholder. But I wanted to do a video. I wanted to talk a little bit about if this epidemic turns into a pandemic. This is, I think, the only plan any intelligent person can put in place. I am going to get as far away from civilization as I possibly physically can get. I would rather put I would rather put my fate in the hands of nature, or the natural order of life, than to put it into anything to do with humankind. The things that are important to me are only important to me, and I know they can be taken away from me by the powers that be. After all said and done, I know after all said and done, there's very little I can do about it. So, I would have little to lose anyways. Withdrawing from this soy-ciety, I wouldn't really have much to lose anyways. Starting over. Like I said, I would just want to get as far away from civilization as possible. Take enough supplies to live while I figure out how to pursue and capture the local game. Do that for a while and yeah, really. But I sometimes wonder if there are those, and I the optimistic in me would like to think that people that watch my content watch it because they are genuinely curious about what I'm trying to do on this platform. But I also sometimes wonder if there are, in fact, those that watch my content because they think they're going to see me bump myself off at some point. Well, sorry to disappoint you, but the last time I thought that thought entered my head, I was 11 years old and living in a lost world of despair and hopelessness at the hands of a male feminist. So, sorry to disappoint you. I be more likely to and the only scenario I can possibly conceive intellectually is if I had to take another, as much as I despise human beings, it would take a lot for me to have to assume the responsibility of taking a human life. A combination of desperation and preservation, survival, is the only thing I can think of. But if there are those such people that honestly watch my content because they do think such a thing, well, to me, that's just a testament to the pathetic state of the collective human consciousness in the soy-ciety I live in. But I always talk about the 6 years of living in that emotional and psychological prison that I lived in childhood. And I'm going to disclose something here for the first time. I have video evidence to back up what I'm about to say, which I'll only share when I deem the time right, or if anybody expresses curiosity to know more of what I'm about to say. But I'm not exactly proud of this thing because I was a child at the time, but honestly, part of my survival of those 6 years was, and this is the first time I'm going to talk about this, was a crush or romantic infatuation I had on someone as a child. Technically, we were both children at the time. It was just somebody that I, admired from afar. And that's how secluded this route is. Horse. Somebody must have been taking their horse on this route. But anyway, that's why I take this route. Unless there's somebody behind me, I can actually drive as slow as I want. So it's ideal for this. But so anyways, I had this crush on this person, which I didn't even understand at the time. I just knew it's moments of utter and desperate emotional desperation in those 6 years. It definitely gave me something to latch onto. Like there's something more, there's something better in this world. Anyways, I'll probably talk more about that in the future or share video content. It has to do with one of two brushes I had in my life with the rule of law that I do have on tape. For whatever reason, I just don't have it in me to be content or satisfied through complacency. And this is just the reality of who I am, like the core of my being. I just cannot. It's just not my nature to be content and satisfied through complacency. I remember when I had come to terms with this, like many, many years later, and was dealing with it, talking to people, I had acquaintance, friends, whatever, and a common theme I would hear from people is live simply so others can simply live. That seems like a reasonable philosophy. I would agree with that. Another thing people were telling me while I was dealing with this whole thing, because I had written the person via letters. I grew up poor, and that's all I knew at that point in my life. Another thing a bit of philosophy they would throw at me is, let a sleeping dog lie, which could be taken two ways, and it's philosophical either way you take it. But you could say, let a sleeping dog lie, L-Y-E, or let a sleeping dog lie, L-I-E. After all, self-delusion is a powerful thing. I think we as human beings do not BS each other the way we BS ourselves. Probably human nature. But that's why in the grand scheme of things, I did stop in my pursuit of a relationship with this person, because I was left to wonder if I was in fact wrong in my pursuit. I said that what I'm talking about, it represents one of two personal brushes with law and order in my life. The other one, which I have evidence of too, actually involves myself and my sisters. And there's no other way to put it. There was an event in my past that's on video that led the members of the law community to suspect myself and my sisters of being devil worshippers. Yeah, I guess I should share that footage at some point. Oh, jeez. But in any event, yeah, I think that's the bulk of what I wanted to get off my chest. I was listening to some music today a CD that originated in an airport. Specifically, anybody going to be visiting the city of Chicago. You know, one of them cities that's on lockdown currently. But a compilation called Chicago, Our Kind of Town. Pretty interesting. The booklet in there, it's got facts and stuff about pertaining to the history of the city of Chicago. Most people know about the Great Chicago Fire. And I didn't realize, apparently, Richard J. Daley was freaking mayor for 6 terms. Almost 3 decades. Which, when I thought about that, I thought, I'm not laying judgment here, but absolute power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. That could account for at least partially the corruption in the city of Chicago. But then again, I don't know. Apparently, even if the President of the United States want to go to Germany, they have to go to Chicago first. And I think Hong Kong and maybe London too, but I'm not 100% about that. And that information might be outdated. It's a CD from the late 90s. So, yeah, that was before 9/11, so I guess people had more reason to hope back then. I was also listening to the soundtrack to Dumb and Dumber. And I hadn't seen that freaking movie in at least a decade or two. But as I was listening to it, the pictures and stuff on the cover, I was remembering stuff from the movie, laughing to myself. I never saw them, but I think there were 2 sequels. An immediate one, which featured second-rate actors playing the roles, and then they made another sequel that I guess Carey and Daniels came back. From what I remember, it's not really the kind of film that you actually care about the characters. Well, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up here. If this is in fact my last video, it's because unbeknownst to me, martial law was declared, and while I was out riding my bicycle, I was shot on sight. So if you don't hear from me again, that could be why. In any event, thanks for watching. And if this is in fact my last video, a very, very, very thank you for watching.